Have you ever looked around and wondered why those who lie, manipulate, or step on others seem to climb higher and faster? Why do the ruthless often win while the honest struggle? It feels unfair, but let me tell you this. What looks like success on the surface is often a slow unraveling beneath. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Those who chase power without honor, who build wealth on deception, are not truly winning. They are simply borrowing time before the weight of their actions collapses on them. Real success isn't measured by wealth, status, or control. It's measured by peace, purpose, and the impact you leave behind. The question isn't, why do the worst succeed? But rather, what kind of success do you want? Because if you trade your integrity for quick gains, you've already lost. In the end, character outlasts corruption. What you build with truth and perseverance will stand long after their empires of sand crumble. What's your take on this? Drop a comment below. Have you ever seen someone rise through dishonesty only to fall later? Let's talk about it. And if you're ready to build success the right way, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected. Number 1, the paradox of power and morality. Imagine this. You stand in a crowded room where ambition fills the air. Some strive with integrity, working hard and remaining true to their values. Others deceive, manipulate, and trample anyone in their way. Yet time and again, it is the ruthless who rise the fastest. Why? Is the world truly designed to reward those who lack morality? History offers countless examples. Ruthless emperors who conquered vast lands, cunning politicians who bent the system to their will, CEOs who built empires on deception. Their success is undeniable. But is it merely coincidence, or is there something deeper at play? The truth is, human nature favors those who take what they want, unburdened by hesitation. In a world where competition is relentless and power is scarce, those who seek fairness at every turn often fall behind. Meanwhile, those willing to exploit and dominate seize the advantage. It is a hard truth, but one worth confronting. Does morality make us weak in the pursuit of power? Yet the Stoics would remind us that power gained without virtue is never secure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." A man consumed by deceit, greed, and ambition cannot escape the consequences of his nature. While ruthlessness may bring temporary triumph, it also sows the seeds of destruction. Betrayal begets enemies. Arrogance invites downfall. No tyrant reigns forever. Look deeper into history, and you will find the pattern repeating. The rise of the immoral is often swift, but their fall is inevitable. True power, the kind that endures, is built on discipline, wisdom, and self-control. As Seneca wrote, "No man is crushed by fortune unless he first has been deceived by her." Those who chase power at any cost become its prisoners, trapped in the endless fear of losing what they have taken. So what does this mean for those of us who refuse to abandon our principles? Should we become like them to survive? The Stoic answer is clear: no. To act without integrity is to lose yourself before the battle even begins. Power is not the goal. Character is. Strength is not found in ruthlessness, but in resilience. Success is not defined by wealth or status, but by the peace of a mind unshaken. The worst among us may seem to succeed, but their victories are fleeting. A man who wins the world but loses his soul has gained nothing. The only true triumph is mastering oneself, because no tyrant, no betrayal, and no twist of fate can take that away. Number 2, the nature of power, strength versus weakness. Power is neither good nor evil. It is a force as natural as the wind and the tide, shaping the world regardless of human judgment. To understand why the worst people seem to succeed, we must first understand power itself. For that, we must look at the contrast between strength and weakness, between those who take control of life and those who surrender to it. Imagine two warriors standing on a battlefield. One is decisive, fearless, and unshaken. He does not ask for permission. He takes what he must. He does not wait for the world to be fair. He shapes it with his own hands. The other hesitates, seeking validation, hoping that virtue alone will protect him. He believes fairness will prevail, that those who suffer with humility will be rewarded. But the battlefield has no sympathy. Which of these two will survive? Which will rule? The Stoics understood that the world doesn't reward weakness. Power belongs to those who take responsibility for their fate, who master themselves before they seek to master the world. As Epictetus said, "How long will you wait before you demand the best of yourself?" To stand idly by, hoping for fairness, is to surrender before the battle even begins. Throughout history, those who embrace strength, discipline, resilience, and the will to act rise to the top. They do not beg for power, they command it. They are not bound by fear, nor do they waste time resenting those who succeed. They understand that struggle is the price of greatness, and they are willing to pay it. On the other hand, those who reject power often do so not out of virtue, but out of fear. They call ambition corrupt because they lack the courage to pursue it. They condemn strength because they feel weak. They create a morality that glorifies submission, that treats suffering as noble and power as evil. But this does not stop the strong from rising. It only ensures that power falls into the hands of those who care nothing for virtue at all. And here lies the great paradox. By shaming ambition, by discouraging the pursuit of strength, society does not prevent the rise of the ruthless, it enables it. While good men hesitate, tyrants act. While the kind-hearted wait for justice, the cunning seize control. Power, like nature, does not tolerate a vacuum. Someone will always take it. The question is, will it be those who seek wisdom or those who seek only their own gain? Yet the Stoics remind us that true power is not found in conquest alone, but in self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The greatest rulers are not those who dominate others, but those who have conquered their own fears, their own desires, their own weaknesses. A man who bends the world to his will but is a slave to his impulses has not won. He has merely exchanged one form of servitude for another. So what does this mean for us? Should we abandon virtue to compete with the ruthless? Should we become like them to survive? Strength and integrity are not opposites. They are one and the same. To be strong does not mean to be cruel. To be ambitious does not mean to be corrupt. The world is a battlefield, but victory does not belong only to the merciless. It belongs to those who are disciplined, who are resilient, who do not surrender to weakness, but who wield their power with wisdom. The worst people may seem to succeed, but their victories are hollow. They win the world and lose themselves. The wise do not chase empty power. They build something greater, something unshakable. The question is not whether you will seek power, but whether you will master it before it masters you. 3, the psychology of success and the strong-willed. So what does this mean for us? Should we abandon morality and walk the ruthless path? Or is there a way to reconcile strength and virtue? To answer this, we must look deeper into the psychology of those who rise, the ones who refuse to be victims of circumstance. Imagine a vast, untamed wilderness. In this world, survival is not dictated by fairness or kindness, but by strength, adaptability, and the will to endure. The lion does not seek approval before hunting. The storm does not apologize for its destruction. Nature does not reward morality, it rewards resilience. Human society, beneath its laws and contracts, is no different. The battle for power is present, and those who hesitate are often left behind. Those who ascend to power often share a defining trait: decisiveness. Not necessarily cruelty, but the ability to act without hesitation, unburdened by fear or guilt. This is not a flaw. It is an advantage in a world that punishes hesitation. Those who take action, who embrace hardship, who shape their own fate, rise above the rest. As Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. The strong do not dwell on fairness. They focus on what they can control: action, discipline, and the mastery of their own minds. Psychologists studying high achievers often find a common pattern: ambition, fearlessness, and an ability to act without being paralyzed by empathy for those who stand in the way. This does not mean that all who succeed lack conscience, but it does mean they do not allow guilt or hesitation to hold them back. Power is rarely given, it is taken. Leaders, warriors, and visionaries throughout history have understood this truth. From the emperors of Rome to the modern titans of industry, one rule remains constant. Those who wait for permission will be ruled by those who do not. But here lies the paradox. Strength alone is not enough. Those who rise without wisdom often face an inevitable fall. A man who rules by fear alone will eventually be consumed by it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." The truly strong are not those who simply dominate others, but those who first conquer themselves. Power without wisdom is a fire without control. It burns brightly but destroys everything in its path, including the one who wields it. So if power is seized by the strong, does this mean morality is a weakness? Not at all. But to see why, we must let go of one of the greatest illusions of modern society, the belief that the world is fair. The Stoics never sought fairness, they sought strength, wisdom, and inner peace. True power is not found in ruthlessness alone, but in resilience, self-discipline, and the courage to act without fear. The world may reward the cunning, but in the end, it belongs to those who master themselves. Number 4, challenging the illusion of fairness. From childhood, we are told a comforting story, that the world is fair, that virtue is rewarded, and that justice always prevails. Fairy tales, religious teachings, and moral philosophies reinforce this belief. But then, as we step into reality, a harsh contradiction emerges. The hardest workers are not always the wealthiest. The most honest do not always lead. The kindest hearts often suffer the most. This disconnect is not a flaw in the system, it's the system. Fairness, as we imagine it, is not a law of nature. It's a human construct, a story we tell to maintain order, not to describe reality. Power and success are not granted based on merit alone. They are taken for, fought for, and often controlled by those who understand the game better than others. Psychologists call this the just world fallacy, the belief that life is inherently fair and that people always get what they deserve. This illusion is dangerous because it encourages passivity. If we assume that goodness alone leads to success, we risk ignoring the realities of competition, discipline, and strategy. And while we wait for justice, those who do not share our illusions are already shaping the world in their favor. But does this mean morality is meaningless? Should we abandon all principles in the pursuit of power? The Stoics would say no. The key is to understand the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. Power and fairness are not opposites. They must be balanced. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible." Success is not about waiting for fairness. It is about acting with strength, clarity, and wisdom. The ones who suffer most are those who believe that playing nice is enough. But those who learn to balance integrity with strategy, kindness with resilience, are the ones who reshape the world. The wise do not reject power, they wield it with discipline. As Seneca said, "Brave men rejoice in adversity, just as brave soldiers triumph in war." The path forward is not to surrender to injustice, nor to become ruthless, but to cultivate the strength to rise above both. Fairness is not something we can expect. It is something we must create. And that requires power, not the power of dissension or cruelty, but the power of self-mastery, of unwavering action, of wisdom applied to reality. The world does not reward the weak or the idle. It rewards those who see clearly, who act decisively, and who refuse to be prisoners of illusion. Number 5, self-mastery and the will to strength. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast abyss. Behind you lies the world as it is, unfair, indifferent, governed by forces beyond your control. Before you lies the unknown, a path only the bold dare to walk. Most will hesitate, shackled by fear, doubt, and the comfort of conformity. But a few will step forward, not because they are fearless, but because they refuse to be ruled by fear. These are the ones who rise above circumstance, who forge their own path, who define power on their own terms. The Stoics understood that true strength is not about brute force or blind domination. It is about self-overcoming. The greatest battle is not against others. It is against oneself. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Those who are enslaved by their impulses, their desires, or their need for external validation may achieve power, but they will never achieve freedom. The one who rules himself, however, can never be truly conquered. At the heart of this philosophy is the will to strength. Unlike the passive morality of submission or resentment, this path embraces the challenge of life, to grow, to adapt, to impose meaning upon a world that offers none. It is not about control over others, but control over oneself. While the weak are trapped by fear, the strong move forward, untethered from illusions. They do not wait for life to be fair. They seize every moment and shape it to their will. But here is the key: strength is not ruthlessness. Unlike the tyrants and manipulators who seek power out of insecurity, the truly strong do not need deception. Their power is self-generated, independent of approval or fleeting success. They do not chase power for its own sake, but for the ability to build, to create, to leave behind something greater than themselves. This is why the worst people may rise to power, but they will never transcend. The ruthless play a temporary game, climbing through manipulation and force. But those who seek true mastery play the infinite game, building legacies, not just empires. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The world does not need more men who take. It needs men who become. The true measure of power is not in domination, but in self-command. Those who chase power for its own sake will always be its prisoners. But those who conquer themselves will hold a power that no ruler, no circumstance, no force of fate can ever take away. Number 6, mastering power with integrity. So how do we navigate a world that rewards the ruthless without becoming one of them? The answer lies in understanding power not as a weapon, but as a tool. One that, when wielded wisely, can be used to shape our own destiny without compromising who we are. Imagine you are in a high-stakes game where the rules favor those who play without hesitation. If you assume fairness will protect you, you lose. This is the reality of business, politics, and life itself. The ruthless understand this. They take what they want. But does that mean you must become like them to survive? Not at all. Many believe they face only two choices: be ruthless or be a victim. But there is a third path, one that blends strategic thinking with integrity. The Stoics taught that power, like all external things, is neither good nor evil. What matters is how it is used. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Power does not corrupt by itself. It merely reveals the character of the one who holds it. The biggest mistake people make is believing life should be fair. But fairness is not guaranteed, nor is it owed to anyone. The strongest competitors accept this early. They do not waste time complaining about injustice. They learn the rules of the game and use them wisely. This does not mean abandoning ethics. It means understanding that power is neutral, and those who master it can wield it for good. Many fail because they assume kindness alone will bring them success. But power is rarely given. It is taken, not through deceit, but through strength, wisdom, and decisive action. This does not mean cruelty, but rather an awareness of how people think and act. Strategic empathy, the ability to read motives, anticipate actions, and respond with clarity, allows you to navigate deception without becoming deceptive yourself. Most people are controlled by fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of standing alone. But the truly strong cultivate inner power. They embrace discomfort, take risks, and forge their own path despite opposition. The Stoics call this apatheia, a state of unshaken inner peace regardless of external chaos. As Seneca wrote, "Brave men rejoice in adversity, just as brave soldiers triumph in war." Those who succeed do not wait for permission. They create opportunities where none exist. There is a difference between reckless ambition and disciplined strength. The first is destruction without purpose. The second is the ability to make hard choices without hesitation. Sometimes power means walking away from toxic relationships, making unpopular decisions, or confronting uncomfortable truths. This is not cruelty, it is wisdom. The key is knowing when and how to apply it. The ruthless may rise quickly, but they also fall hard. Why? Because their power is built on exploitation, not creation. True power is not found in taking, but in building, whether it's a business, an idea, a movement, or a personal transformation. When you create value, you become indispensable. You do not need to manipulate because your power is earned, not stolen. Mastery is not about crushing others. It is about mastering yourself. The strongest are not those who rule by fear, but those who stand firm in their principles, unshaken by the chaos around them. Power without wisdom is a fire that consumes itself, but power guided by integrity is the force that reshapes the world. Number 7, the ethical pursuit of power. Can you succeed in a world that rewards the ruthless? Absolutely, but only if you stop expecting fairness, stop following the old rules blindly, and start mastering power on your own terms. But this brings us to a deeper question. Is power itself corrupt, or is it simply misunderstood? Power is the force that shapes the world, determining who leads and who follows, who thrives and who remains at the mercy of others. But is power inherently evil? The Stoics understood that power, like wealth or status, is neither good nor bad. It is only as virtuous or corrupt as the one who wields it. As Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Power in its highest form is not about crushing others. It is about overcoming oneself. True strength lies in mastering your impulses, refining your character, and rising above fear and weakness. Yet history is filled with examples of power leading to corruption. We have seen leaders consumed by ego, greed, and tyranny, turning strength into oppression. This paradox forces us to ask, does power corrupt, or does it simply reveal what was already within? The truth is, power is not the enemy. Lack of wisdom is. Without discipline, power inflates arrogance. Without virtue, it leads to destruction. So how should we approach power? Not with fear, but with purpose. Power should not be sought for domination, but for creation. It should not be used to impose, but to build. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Power is not about stooping to the level of the ruthless. It is about rising above them. The true pursuit of power is not about bending the world to your will. It is about bending yourself into the strongest, most resilient version of who you can be. Power is a tool, and in the hands of the wise, it can shape a legacy of strength, justice, and greatness. The choice is yours. Will you let power master you, or will you master it? If this exploration of power and success has shifted your perspective, then you are already on the path to something greater. The world does not reward fairness. It rewards those who understand reality and act with strength. But that does not mean you must abandon your principles to succeed. True power is not found in ruthlessness alone, but in mastery of the mind, of the self, and of the forces that shape the world around us. The Stoics knew this well. Life is a battlefield, and the strongest are not those who dominate others, but those who refuse to be ruled by fear, hesitation, or illusion. Strength and virtue are not opposites. They are the foundation of true success. If this message resonated with you, let's continue this journey together. Like this video, share it with those who need to hear it, and leave a comment. I want to know your thoughts. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. The pursuit of power without losing yourself is not easy, but it is possible. The key is not to reject the game, but to play it with wisdom. In the next video, we'll take another step toward understanding how to rise and remain unshaken. Stay strong, and I'll see you there.